Hey Hardin County, I'm here at the library. My kids are over there doing a library program, and so I thought I would take this opportunity and do a little snippet on the ARPA money. I have about half the information for the ARPA money. There's been a lot of people who have not gotten back to me on how they've spent their money, but I'm just going to go ahead and finish writing, giving update of what that is so that you guys know at least where we're at currently. But right now I've had a lot of people reach out and want to know about this, these sewer plants that I spoke of yesterday in the meeting. So what happens is when a developer comes in and they take a section of land, they make it into residential housing, and they're far enough away from any type of sewer, or maybe they're too close together to put in septic tanks, or whatever the restrictions are, they opt to go to a real mini sewer system. So it has tanks, and if you look on the satellite you can see that there are big rectangle tank lids on the surface, and they have a little processing thing in there, and it will do all the houses in that area. So you have a septic system, right? And there we have 3 of them, and of course I'm not gonna remember. I think there's one out maybe in Pfeifer Station. There's one at Eldridge Lane, which is, so I got a picture of this. So here's Eldridge Lane out County Road 120. Over here is Kenton, right? And I went through and I looked, and there's 9 houses out there, or 9 owners out there, and I would say they are upper class homes. I mean, some of these are a pretty good chunk of acreage that they are living on. They also have and I don't know if that's where the sewer system is, because at the Reed Road plant, you can see where the commissioners actually own land. I could not find that at Eldridge Lane, but there is a section of land that has a big barn on it and a pond. So I don't know if that's where the tank is. I'll have to get back with Luke to find out for sure. But I did talk to him the other day in the meeting about Reed Road. So here's Reed Road, and this one is done already. And this is Township Road 39, and it comes down, and kind of down here more to the south is Roundhead. And I counted, let's see, so 10, 11, so 17. He thought there were 14. So, but as far as this whole section, this is the Reed Road subdivision. So if maybe some houses have opted out of that sewer system, that's a possibility. He said there were 14. I count 17 kind of in that group right there. So one way or the other. And I would say those are more maybe middle class houses, much smaller acreage, and much closer together. So anyway, so that's where those are if you guys want to kind of look them up yourself on the map, right? And so basically when they built these subdivisions, right, and they put in the sewer system, then they gift back the sewer system to the county, which is not really a gift. I feel like it should probably stay private, right? And so, but they gift this back to the county takes it on. They do all the upkeep, the maintenance, the the repairs, the testing, all the things that they have to do for that. And subsequently, if it goes bad, right, then they're going to replace it. I believe, because I talked to Luke about this a long time ago when we were talking about regionalizing sewer systems, and they were in the process of getting these systems together and ordering them and planning. So it's been a little while, but from what I can remember, these may have gone back to the 60s, so they last a long time. They last 50, 60 years as sewer systems. I don't know that they take a lot of upkeep. I think they're pretty self-sufficient in that respect. And from what I understand is, because I asked about the fees, right? Because one of the issues with, water and sewer, even for municipalities, is that you never raise the fees high enough to pay for the current cost of the plant and future maintenance costs, right? Because it would be astronomical, and people, they're, why my bill's so high? Well, it's so high because, you're working with a huge water or wastewater plant, and we're just a really small group of people. And when you say, we've got a lot of houses, but half of those houses are bringing in income and only half of those are substantial, right? Then, the pool of money that's holding the biggest weight of the burden is really pretty small. I think somebody had said that 33% of Kenton residents carry the burden of the entire group. So it definitely is a burden in that respect. So raising the fees to actually cover your costs is something that doesn't happen very often. They are trying to get to that point because now our plants and our things and our pipes need to be replaced, and somebody's going to have to pay for them. So from what I understand is that Luke, as the engineer, sets the fees for, or he at least advises the commissioners, because the commissioners own these substations, right? On what the fees should be. The commissioners ultimately approve that as their responsibility. And he was thinking maybe it was like $30 to $40 a month that they pay in their fees to operate the system. So if you figure, they last 60 years, let's just cut it down to 40 years just to be conservative. And if you take each of these substations has cost $350,000 a piece. They got 2 new tanks, the additional machinery and things. So 3, and then to install them, they had to get rid of the old and install the new. And if you say, okay, 14 houses for the one, because $350 each, right? So 14 houses for the one, that's $25,000 a year. And if you break that down, you're talking about maybe $12 a week, $52 a month over the course of 40 years of those houses to pay for a whole new replacement of their sewer system. That's substantial, but it is a private system, and it does include that replacement cost. So, I think our sewer bill, for Kenton, just that base fee was $30, but you have a lot more people, but it also is a bigger plant. And so you're kind of looking at, your $52, $60, $70 for sewer. But you're not on a well or septic. And so some of the question that I've gotten from people is that, I live in the country, I have to pay for all my sewer and septic, right? If something goes wrong, I fix it. And yet these houses who are in the country and who could have sewer and septic themselves, I'm saying the same thing, but a well and like a leach bed, they don't. They have, and the county covers that cost. So it doesn't really make sense to me as I grew up in the country, and especially now, it's very difficult to get a leach bed or sewer approval from our county, and so it's definitely an advantage to be able to go together to get this done. So you're looking at a cost to maintain that, but that's kind of the cost. People go to HOAs, right? And they have HOA fees, and that's mainly just, you have to make your house look nice, and you have to do all these things, and it's acceptable because that's what you're buying into when you buy your house. So, that's my take on it. Obviously, if you can get a free sewer system, people are going to take advantage of that. I'm absolutely sure. So essentially how I see it, unless I'm given additional information, is that this ARPA money for these houses, they're getting anywhere from $25,000 to $35,000 free, right? Because if we didn't spend ARPA money, to pay for their sewer system, then they were gonna have to replace it themselves. And they didn't have to, right? From what I understood about the fees is that the fees collected are not, they're covering the maintenance costs. They're not covering replacement costs. So, you heard in the health board meeting the other day that they mismanaged their money and they didn't plan ahead and they didn't have enough fees. Well, as far as I know, these fees were mismanaged. They could have been collecting fees the last 60 years to pay for this when it came due, and I haven't seen where well, if there is money, they haven't used that money because they used it fully into the ARPA fund to pay for that. So, essentially, sorry, it's the book drop over here. Essentially, we've had 24 homes in our county receive tens of thousands of dollars. Or having their, okay, the book stopped. But we have 24 houses in our county that, personally received tens of thousands of dollars that could have come out of their pocket that didn't. And they got brand new sewer systems. I have not heard that. I know the systems were getting old, but I didn't hear that they weren't functioning or they weren't working properly like I've heard over in Forest and McGuffey, right? They're old, but they're still functioning. So the fact that they get brand new shiny sewers and other people get looked over, I think is a big issue. And I think that I would like to have some explanation from our county as far as, why did this happen and how are we going to prevent it from happening again, right? So we got brand new systems now, and they need to start assessing the proper fees so that we don't have to pay for it again, because it come out of our money. And if it didn't come out of ARPA money, it was certainly going to come out of some other fund to pay for those, as far as I have been told. So that's a little bit about the Eldridge and Reed Road systems. And I don't put the blame on anybody who lives in those houses, right? I don't know if they petitioned or if they even came in and asked. This is just something that the county owns and is responsible for, and so they're paying to upkeep it, and they happen to get the benefits. So no rude comments or any of that kind of thing to the individual homes, but certainly another mismanaged opportunity that serves 24 homes opposed to what would be beneficial to the larger mass of people in Hardin County. So something to think about. Thanks. Hey, Hardin County, I'm still here at the library. My kids are having a good time, and I'm going to try and get through this massive pile of courthouse ARPA money work. So they did one of the things. I'm just going to go through this list and let you know what they have written down. Some of these items I have gone and talked to people personally about the reason behind them. Other ones I don't have quite as much information, but we'll go ahead and share what we can. They updated the courthouse with Cat 6 networking, which is kind of a big deal. They were using some really old systems, and so those did get updated. It'll be nice. That was $160,855 so let's see, they've got monitors and two workstations, some new laptops, those kind of things were in that one. We had the courthouse was cleaned and sealed, right? We all kind of remember that from the outside. They went through and cleaned it all and did the caulking on it, and it was $225,000, $848. The archive digitizing their records. So I talked to the recorder, and they went and sent, like a company comes in and they grab all your books and take them and digitize them. So now I think their whole system is digitized, and that was done in 22. That was $281,000, $281,210. And Chris, the IT guy, has done most of this work. He'd have contractors and things, but he heads up most all this work. We have computer and software upgrades to the court system. Paperless e-filing. Now the e-filing is something that's mandated in 2025, so that was a good thing that we have that taken care of. A texting module, they were able to, well, it looks like they didn't buy that one. They have a workflow, like court day workflow, for juvenile probate court. I don't know what that is, but an e-payment, those kinds of things that to put in place. And I'm assuming that it helps their management system and whatnot. So ease of getting us out of the dark ages, I suppose, is the big thing, and getting us digital. So that's really nice. We had the third floor HVAC units put into the courts up there. That was, I didn't tell you what the upgrade for the court systems were. It was $121,338 to do that upgrade. The HVAC units for the courts was $310,000, $695. And I mean, they've not had air conditioning up there for a long time. But if I was in court and I was feeling under the pressure, and tensions can get high, but having a cool area to have court in is kind of a big deal. So I'm not saying any of these things are bad improvements. Just a shame that all these types of improvements came out of our ARPA money instead of maybe out of a maintenance, right? We go back to the meeting yesterday with the health department and how the commissioners were, really giving them a hard time about not managing their money. But, frankly, they should have been budgeting HVAC and IT upgrades for years because they knew they were coming. So the fact that they get a free pass on getting this work done on, essentially this free money that we pay for, just gets lost a little bit. So we have the Mark's radio is a big thing with the sheriff, and so they got a repeater installation over there at the municipal court. That was $18,298. We have court security materials was $48,970. The family court security cameras, which is a good thing, is $3,125. The re-roofing project, which I've heard some conflicting things that maybe we didn't need our roof done when I asked Roger about it, because I thought there's already a rubber roof up on that was already up there when they did the copper roof. He didn't know what I was talking about. And so did they really know the shape that the roof was in? If they didn't even know the material that was put on the roof, there's a big question about that. And that roof probably shouldn't have, it may not have needed to be redone. And they're redoing all the copper down the sides. They're putting in brand new copper gutters. And I think they're big, they're kind of these basin things. So not sure. I'm hoping that we get reimbursed for that copper when they sell it, because fetches a pretty penny. So that re-roofing project is $225,000. And the other thing, if you guys aren't following, so we have all the road tore up on east side of the courthouse. The north side has all the construction on it. The south side is election parking, right? So it leaves one side for regular parking, and a lot of times the courthouse people park there. So there's really no parking, and they're trying to hurry up and get the road done, the city is, so that they can have the Christmas parade. And here the commissioners are going to come with this great big crane and all the supplies and all these things, and they're gonna basically bring them in every day because there's nowhere to put them. So we're going to pay somebody to move that crane off site, right, and supplies off site, and then every day they got to bring it all back in. It's a mess. They can allocate this money and do the project later. So this is my 2 cents. They're just in a really big hurry. And then we have this website design, right, is $10,000, $10,190, right? And I've seen the website. It's okay. You know, the way that they kind of have like a central hub, and like the sheriff has their own website, the engineers has their own website, you know, and it just kind of links to these other websites. This thing was supposed to be up a long time ago, and actually it was gonna go live right at around the time that the commissioners stopped posting their meeting minutes, because that was their thing. Oh, we have a new website, we're not gonna post any more meeting minutes until the new one's up. But then the new one has never come. It doesn't. They're just waiting and waiting and waiting for this new website to. So I don't know what's wrong with it, with the security. Maybe the security certificates need, or whatever it is. But this new website is just hanging on the back burner for a while. So let me total this up, and we'll see how much we've spent on the courthouse. All right, I added those up, and as long as my calculator is correct, we have $1,405,528.11 for the ARPA money. I haven't gone back and looked at any of the CARES money, so I don't know how it was spent. Like I said before, it has a lot of restrictions on it, and it wasn't the huge amount that this is. The one question I do have is I expected to see windows on here, because I've always heard that we spent $1 million on updating the windows. I thought it came out of ARPA money, but it's not in here. So I don't know who paid for the windows. Was it a grant? Was it out of the general fund? That's something I'll have to ask about. But anyway, so that's the courthouse, little snippet, and we'll move on to the next one. All right. All right, we're gonna see if we can get one more video in here before the library closes, and I want to go to another location. We're gonna talk about the fairgrounds. So again, we have handicap parking at the fairgrounds. That was $27,595, and of course the engineer's office did all that, and so they absorb, you know, part of that cost. You know, it's really, and like I've said before on other posts, I really like it. I think it's a real nice thing to do for the citizens of Hardin County. So enjoyed seeing that this year. I didn't think they did this filtration system, this UV filtration system at the Arts and Craft building, but it says on here that they do have a bill for it. So that was $2,581.94. So and it just says UV filtration system for Arts and Crafts building. I don't know, I'd be interested to talk to somebody a little bit about that and find out kind of what it was and how, you know, if that's just why they wanted that, or, you know, what was the need for that. The other thing that I know they had a big upgrade for is the Fairgate network, you know, and going paperless, which this was actually in 21. Well, yeah. So anyways, this was purchased in 21, and it's the, I think it's like, they're like iPads and chargers and, oh yeah, the iPads and service and those kinds of things that they use at the gates, which is very nice. I mean, I know it was a big kind of controversy there at the beginning when they installed them, and the QR codes and all those things. But they are very nice. I know I talked to the gate guy for quite a while this year at the fair, and you know, he was talking about other additional upgrades that can be done as far as you know, RDF chips in your bands, you know, especially for people who maybe are camping, and you know, being able just to kind of swipe in and swipe out as you go, and they can, you know, kind of track people. And you know, there's definitely some things that they can do. I mean, if you think, this is a little side note, but if you think about the data, right? Your data is the most important thing that you can have to say, I know who's coming in and how when are they coming, and so that you have the right staff and you have the right numbers to make the decisions that you need to go forward. And so that those gate people and, you know, the experience that they have and the data that they can get you as a fair board to better serve your citizens based on, you know, when they're coming and things is a big deal. So I really enjoyed talking to him and you know, getting to know, you know, the ins and outs of the entertainment fair circuit a little bit. So that was it. I didn't oh yeah, so let's see if I tallied it up. It was $43,105 for the fair out of the ARPA money is what I have so far. And of course we have the $500,000 that is being you know, it's allocated to the fair, but the fair is, they don't have blueprints, they don't have anything really yet for to say that they have their buildings, you know, anything to use that money for. So I suppose they can allocate it to the fair this year, by the end of this year, and they would have to use it. I don't know how specific you have to actually be. You mean, I would think you'd have to assign it to a very specific project. So that's why it's like the fair's not really ready for this money. We have people who really do need this money. You know, take the time, do the research, do what needs to be done at the fair to get the right kind of buildings, and you know, we'll deal with it later. But right now we have people who need that money, and it can be used. So all right, so that was it for the fair. We're going to move somewhere else and we'll see if we can't finish up these videos. All right, thanks.